There were actually 5 different teachings that took place in this crusade revival meeting. I like to just call it that because it's just how I identify these great meetings that Jesus had when these multitudes of people would come to hear him preach. And at this particular time, it says that he was in a boat, and it was just a little bit off the shore, and he's preaching to the people, and there's multitudes of people there. And this is a time that I've talked about, is right after these meetings had taken place. They're on a ship going across the water, and a storm comes up. The disciples, they're panicking. They go wake him up, and they said, "Don't you care that we perish?" And Jesus said to the wind, he said, "Peace, be still." And then the disciples, they said, "What kind of a man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" And so that's when I refer to Jesus as the wind whisperer. The wind whisperer. He's just able to just speak, and he just speak to the storm, and he'll speak to the storms in our life if we'll ask him, and if we'll stand in faith. But as I said, in this crusade, we know what he preached on because it's given to us here in the book of Mark. Now, there were actually 5 different things that he talked about. One was the parable of the sower. We've talked about that a little bit this week, and we may expand that some next week. And then this is the truth that he talked about. He says, the better you hear, the better you will comprehend. And I was saying this to my congregation at Freedom Road last Sunday. I said, well, the truth of the matter is that any preacher, when people are preaching, you don't get everything they say, and you know that as well as I know that. Sometimes people nod off. Sometimes their mind wanders or whatever. And so he says that the more you get, the better it's going to be for you, and the more you will be able to comprehend and be able to apply the teachings that you hear. And so, to me, that's just a word of, hey, let's pay attention. And then he talked about the mystery of growth, and really the mystery of the fulfillment of the harvest. And being a farmer's kid, growing up on a farm, I understand all about the harvest. When it's all said and done, you take that crop to market. That's a glorious thing, and highly, highly risky to have that accomplishment happen. Anybody who's ever planted a crop knows there are so many things that can happen to that crop. And when you finally get to the point to where it's finished and you're able to take it to the market and sell it, that is a mystery. And this is what he talks about, the mystery of growth. And then he talked about the harvest and how important the harvest is. And that all these are just teachings. And then he finishes up with the parable of the mustard seed, which I have taught on so many, many times, talked about it in my book. I call it the mustard seed theology. To me, these are just ministry points that Jesus was just able to just speak him right into the hearts of the people in that multitude. And that's why they loved him so much. That's why they followed him down to Jerusalem. It was this group of people from the regions of Galilee up there that were there with him on the triumphant entry. It wasn't the people of Jerusalem. It was these people who had been with him, who had been to these revivals, had heard his teaching. They loved him. They're the ones that were rejoicing that day. You see, that's the Jesus that I know, Jesus that I love. He is the wind whisperer. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.